Steele, let's get into some big news. Now, obviously, the Tokyo Game Show is happening, and that's happening soon. Now, we have Tina Amini, who runs all of the shows for Xbox, and ever since she has been running the shows, all she's been doing is killing it. Like, she's former IGN. She now works exclusively with Xbox, and she heads on all of the shows, and they have been spectacular since she has taken over. There's just no doubt about it. So on September 5th, Xbox Wire had announced that the Xbox Tokyo Game Show broadcast is returning Thursday, September 26th. And here for the United States, at least for the East Coast, for us, it is going to be 6 a.m. Eastern. So that's a Thursday. Whatever happens there, I'll be talking about it that Thursday afternoon. Now, what she said was this in an official tweet from her Twitter account. We've got a little more news coming for you because my team's work is never done. Also, please admire our show's visuals, which I definitely, probably had a little bit of fun with in our GFX package.
I think it's definitely time, man. Square Enix has been hitting at this for some time. I mean, Square Enix has also made their own big misses. I think after Babylon's Fall, that really exposed some things to them because I'm pretty sure they spent a good penny on that game and get servers up and running for it and everything. And it closed down very quickly as well, again, within its first year. And you're seeing how the Final Fantasy games are performing and whatnot. Now, for me, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but I'm not the Final Fantasy fan so much to the point where I don't appreciate them changing game styles and whatnot. Mainly because I'm not the turn-based dude no more. I'm just not. I'm not into that. I was back in the day when I played Final Fantasy VII originally, when I played Final Fantasy IX. Again, those are some of my favorite experiences from back in the day. But again, if I wanted to play a mobile game, I would play that on my phone. And that's how I see those games, right? But again, I know that's a me thing more than anything, and me and Paul go back and forth about that. So I appreciate what they have done. Final Fantasy 15 pulled me back into Final Fantasy, my enjoyment of it. I really enjoyed everything that they had in that game. Again, since I last played, they also reworked some of the story and the ending, so it was a bit better. My wife played it, had an extreme amount of fun in it. So I'm extremely excited about the potential of I also play Final Fantasy VII Remake, not on PlayStation, but when it came to PC, and replaced Barrett with Master Chief and made Tifa Sailor Moon, and just had my funs with it because again, that's why I like playing those games on PC, man, and just having that versatility. So to see these come possibly to Xbox, or to at least get other people to start experiencing, because Final Fantasy 15 is one of the better selling Final Fantasies that we have had over the last decade.
I bought it.
No other game. No other. But the thing about it though, Boom, no other Final Fantasy after has sold as much.
Nope.
Right. So it's like, obviously it did something well. But I think the biggest thing that it did well is it did sell everywhere. It was on all platforms. It was available, right? So, and I do think Final Fantasy as well is at a point in its life as an IP, because they have not done something consistent. They don't make a traditional version, that more turn-based style game. And then also do the action style. Like, they're trying to do all more action. Some people think it's because of that. I think it's because they don't lean more into what makes Final Fantasy a fantasy RPG. Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me. Digging deeper into the gods, the different lores, the different characters, the different like, just there's so much potential with Final Fantasy that they don't have to take themselves overly serious with it. It has always had a beautiful art style. The FMVs were always dope. Like, they had that Blizzard thing going on. They're one of the few people that have that similar style to where they can release an anime-esque type of thing, or a movie-esque type thing, CG type thing, and it's like, man, is this how the game looks? You get it, of course not. You get pixels back in the day. Now we get something that's a little bit more akin to it, and just feels special in many ways, but not enough people seemingly connect with it or recognize it for what it is. And I think it's really weird to see that, especially on platforms where it's an Eastern platform. For Sony, you would imagine that the love for Final Fantasy would continue to thrive no matter what, because it has been known to be on that platform since almost the very beginning outside of Nintendo. So to see the one of the most, I think it'd be hard to argue, popular gaming IPs have this thing to where it is having a difficult time selling to a modern audience. I think it just makes sense for them to come over, and I do think that Microsoft maybe gives them a little bit extra on top to drop those games into Game Pass for at least 90 days, 3 months, so people can experience these games maybe and get an influx. And I think that would be really good for Final Fantasy 16, because 16 has DLC that came out, right? So if you get people in the Game Pass day one, or you say, oh, with Final Fantasy 16 is going to be available to you Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, and then I jump in and I see I only need to purchase the DLC to have my full experience with this game. Again, I'm saving myself $40. I'll probably beat the game that same month. Like, there's just so much inherent value that can be had there. And these are the type of plays that I want to see Microsoft and Xbox continue to make, because the inherent value is almost undeniable. Right. It's extremely dope to see more people starting to recognize the Eastern flavor as well. I think anime has done a great justice, along with JRPGs and such. They have definitely translated over, but I do think that anime, that transition, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, and the like, have helped One Piece, have helped people be more welcoming to that Eastern flavor. So it being these Square Enix games coming everywhere, full slate, whatever it needs to be. I was telling Pong the other day during our Space Marine stream that I think what's going to end up happening is that Final Fantasy, the third part of Final Fantasy, is going to release day and date to everything. Right. And maybe you have like the classic, you used to have back in the day, the 3-disc set, right? And it came in that binder case or whatever it was that I always thought was super dope. Maybe that's something that they do for that third version, right? Along with making it available to everybody, just kind of, and that maybe has the chance to reinvigorate Final Fantasy in a completely different way, maybe open more eyes to it in that way as well. So I think this is just the right moves, man. It makes sense. The head of Square was saying the same thing. Obviously, Square was not moving in the right direction, and you're seeing it as well with Foam Stars, right? I think Foam Stars is going to end up coming over it as well at some point, if they don't bring it to PC and they don't see some form of an influx. Because again, get Foam Stars maybe a copycat of Splatoon, but there's no other game out there that's like it. So it can be unique. Maybe it's just not in the front of the right audience. So there's a lot of different opportunities that can be had here. I want to see Square continue to be successful. I also want them to mind some of the diversity issues that they seemingly have with how they treat certain characters and how they look at people on a global level. Again, we won't get too much into that, but it's there's a lot that goes into this, and I think it's going to be dope to see that whole slate come on by and get more fans for Square. So.
I mean, I think it seems like it's a natural transition from them staying specifically with these Sony deals that ultimately hurt their company, right? I mean, the numbers don't lie. Again, this isn't a blue versus green thing, folks. The reality is that PlayStation gamers, which again equate for about 85% of casual gamers buy 2 and 3 games a year if you're lucky. And they only pay for what they need to get online. That's it. They're not buying top tier, not spending $180 on the Ultimate service. They don't care. They just want to play their PlayStation, whether it be the 4 or the 5, whatever, and they want to play their games that they normally play, most of which are probably free to play. Call of Duty's in there, Apex is in there, PUBG's in there, Fortnite, of course, and whatever other free play stuff. And of course, you'll get the 2Ks. The basketball, you get the WWE, you get an occasional Spider-Man in there, a God of War maybe, or GTA, right? That's just what they play. Buzzy, before I bring you in on the conversation, I do got to catch up on the 3 super chats that are here, and then we'll get your thoughts and theories about why this is a big deal. Because I think them coming to finally these games coming to Xbox is massive. I'd love to see them come to Xbox Game Pass, not because I'm a cheapo, Because I mean, look, if I have to buy Final Fantasy VII again, I'm buying it again. I want to play that on my Xbox. I got halfway through it, loved it on the PS4, but will enjoy it more on the Xbox because that's where I enjoy gaming, and I will buy that game. I will play through that game. I love Final Fantasy VII, just an amazing series, and 7 was really good. Again, they cut it into pieces, sure, but it was really well done. We have JJ saying 117 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says it has been 25 years since the Dreamcast was released in North America. It is early, but Xbox's 25th birthday is in 2 years. Will they do a celebration for their IP? I freaking hope so. Again, we'll see, but that's when they're supposed to launch the next console, 26, right? So maybe, right? Maybe we'll see. Royal Boyle 78. Hello, salutes, brother. Nice to see you in the chat as always. He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Boom, Fuzzy Steel chat. Good afternoon, my brothers." Well, good afternoon as well. He goes, "F Sony for raising the controller prices." Yeah, they did that today. You didn't know. Sony raised all of their DualSense controllers by $5. It's a kind of a sneaky, really sneaky thing to do. And man, this is what I'm talking about, folks. If I saw it, I didn't want to make a big deal over it because you know what? The minute I say anything, it's up. That guy's an Xbot. He's flying the green. Not forget it as a consumer. Forget that. Who just bought the Astrobot controller because I'm a nerd, right? I bought it, but they sneaked that $5. Why? Why are they raising the price of these controllers? Because that's what Sony does. And you know what? No one challenges them. No one says anything to them. Not even the press. You will not see I will be surprised if you see one story on this. It's like, there's a market leader. You know, it's all right. It's fine. Don't be that consumer. Fight back. Fight the man, if you will. So let's see. Goes, there's no excuse for that crap. You're right, Roy Boyle. Sony looks like they're hurting for money. Bad. Also, loved the Call of Duty beta. Yeah, dude. I'm going to tell you this right now. I have so many games to play. I got to get back to Astrobot. I'm loading up. I can't wait to play Space Marine. That every video I see, I'm like, why am I not playing this game? It's because of Call of Duty. Somehow they have tapped my nerve as a non-Call of Duty player to be more excited to play online than the single player. That hasn't happened, folks, since the Xbox 360 days. You know, if you're a fan of the show, you understand. I'm like, nah, multiplayer. I'm going right to single player. Not this time. I almost feel depressed that I can't turn on and just play Call of Duty or multiplayer. It's crazy. I don't want to play 3. I want to play Black Ops. That's what I want to play. Thank you for the generosity, Royal Boy. I appreciate you being here, brother. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he goes on to say, wow, this is crazy. I have 365 plus days into Grand Theft Auto Online, and I hope they allow some carryover for GTA 6. There is no first-party game I am wanting more than this title. That's passion online, right there, folks. Yeah. Online is, I honestly think it's going to be a difficult transition. Because if you are it's
going to be a reset.
It's gonna ruffle a lot. It's gonna ruffle some feathers, folks. I mean, yeah.
Why carry it over? It's a 10-year-old. It's a 11-year-old game.
11-year-old game.
Got to move on. Unfortunately, I mean, you spent your time with it. It would be great for it to move some things forward. I mean, I do like the idea of continued progression with your character, and I would like something like that at least to help tie you over to, because that would pull in a lot of people. You could put that on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever, and people would be like, "Oh man, I can carry over. I haven't played GTA in years, man. I just got tired of it. I mean, I could carry over my character."
You know why I don't have any faith in what you're saying, Steel? It's not because you're saying it. Why I have no faith is because when they released the Xbox One version, of GTA 5, you couldn't carry over your save, your single player save. You had literally had to abandon your single player game on the 360 and start anew on.
It worked for online characters.
Yeah, it did work for online. We'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see.
So see what they value.
Well, they value money. That 2K, they value money. So we'll see. But listen, Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this. Obviously, the Tokyo Game Show is happening at the end of the month. It is a big deal. Now, is it a monstrous deal? Well, I mean, I guess that your mileage is going to vary. I think it's very important for Xbox to show up big. They are going to show up big. They're showing up there with all of their wares from Bethesda, from Activision, from Xbox Game Studios. We know Tina Amini is running the show. She's already touting that it's gonna be a spectacular presentation for Xbox. I'm excited, but I want to talk about Final Fantasy finally. And again, Jez Corden wouldn't use the words whole slate unless that's what he heard. And that's what he heard. Whole slate, meaning that it's unlikely moving forward that PlayStation is going to get any more of these exclusive deals that keep these games off of Xbox. And I think that is great for Xbox players. I think it's even better for Square Enix. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I happen to agree. I think about the only one that we might have to wait a little bit longer would be the Final Fantasy VII, just because of how they were doing that 3-part trilogy, and Sony kicked some money towards the I guess production of that. So we probably won't see Remake and Rebirth until the 3rd part Reunion, or whatever they're going to call it, something. We'll probably get it as kind of like what Steela touched on, as like a 3-game unit. At that point, it'll be like the trilogy collection or something that we'll finally get. We'll have all of the DLC and all 3 parts in one swoop, as opposed to having it broken up. But then again, the timeline on that is like 2026, so it might still be some time. But we'll definitely get Final Fantasy 16. We'll definitely get the Pixel remasters, and I think at least the Pixel remasters go into Game Pass. It'd be nice to see if 16 comes to Game Pass as well, but not expecting it. But given how well coming into Game Pass worked for Sega and Atlas with Yakuza and the Personas and things like that, I think Square is going to probably go and take that same route. And I'm pretty sure Microsoft will be willing to pay them up front to get those into the service. And it will, kind of reintroduce them to the Xbox fan base. So I think at that point, that's probably their best move pushing forward. Have it where a lot of the events that you see in like Final Fantasy 14 start to make sense, and maybe some of the skins carry over, and some of the event stuff will carry over, or you'll get like different rewards or things like that between those games. But it's about time Square finally says yes to money as opposed to just yes to exclusivity deals. But I also think there's going to be a couple of surprises there at the Tokyo Game Show. I think we probably get to see some of the fruit of the labor between Phil and Sarah, making numerous trips to Japan, and how they've talked about all those studios that they've been working with. So I think we get a surprise at the show from at least one, if not a couple studios that they have a new game that will be coming to Game Pass or coming to Xbox in general from that region. I'm still of the notion that I think OD gets released before what is that, Death Stranding 2. So maybe we see more of OD at this point. But I do big, think,
dude.
Yeah. But I do think they have a decent show lined up with pretty much everything from Square coming over. It would be nice if we get Foam Stars, but it's not that we need it as much as they need us, because it doesn't seem like the player base is holding up as well over just on the PS5. Like, I still don't understand why they didn't put it on PC at the same time, which would have probably made more sense, at least for Square's standpoint. And the same could be said with Final Fantasy 16, although it is coming to PC now, but we'll probably wind up getting it, on PC and Xbox at the same time. It's just that, maybe it winds up in Game Pass, so that way people on Xbox can give it a try, buy it if they like it, kind of thing, and go from there. But yeah, it's time that we get to see all that handshaking they did with Phil on stage pay off. So yeah, they should show up.